All right, so we're gonna be unboxing the 5090 today. Normally I don't do unboxings that often, it's been a long time, but this one's actually kind of different, I guess. So we'll talk about that. The packaging is different. Apparently it's more eco-friendly, it's inkless, and all kinds of other stuff. So we'll talk about it right after this. Today's video is brought to you by the new, really super cool JSUSense Melty connector shirt. You know, paying tribute to one of the best designs that's clearly ever existed. And if you don't like the Vaporwave colors, we've got our OG gray and red colors available now. So get yours by following the link in the description below.
Nice.
Ow, I have a thigh cramp. Okay, so this is the Founders Edition card for the 5090. This is obviously the Founders card for the 4090. I only have this box here because they're actually kind of proud about apparently taking up less materials. And I was kind of confused at first, like, is this cardboard box like what you get if you were to go to Best Buy or wherever is selling Founders? I think Micro Center has some Founders too, I think, I don't know. At least they have in the past. But this is actually the retail packaging, like this. It is kind of all encompassed, where this is the packaging you got that would have been inside another box, and if you went to the store, you'd just get the black box. So if you open this up, this is not very eco-friendly when it comes to the amount of ink and foam and other crap that's in here. Just to display this card, I mean, that is a significant amount of packaging. So we're just gonna set that aside so that we can kind of compare. I need the adapter because that's gonna be something to talk about here. So to unbox it, you've got a pull tab and you pull this all the way around. I don't like the new slogan, by the way. Inspired by gamers, enhanced by AI. I don't like it. I'm sorry. That's just me, I guess. Probably not. So once you do that, then you can lift it somehow. Okay. So there's an arrow right here that shows the way it goes, and it's actually very heavy, but ta-da! So once you open it up, you can see now this is all part of the unboxing experience. The sides open up this way, and then you get this recycled paper, which I guess it's just another word for potentially cardboard. As you can see, it's like corrugated thick cardboard. It's kind of a clamshell, but there's other products in here, as you can see. It gives some kind of like hints to the way that the cooler is designed, apparently. I'm not entirely sure. That is our adapter, and nothing else actually comes out of here. So you can hang on to this if you want, but that is the box for the box. So now, taking this cardboard aside, this is the actual packaging material for the card itself. It's kind of designed to almost look like the card, but these pieces come off, this comes off, and you'll notice it's not like dyed at all. That's why I'm showing you the black box here, because there's a lot of ink and stuff involved in making this. This is all kind of the natural color. You can see it's embossed for the GeForce RTX 5090. I don't know if the 5080 will be the same, to be honest, I have no idea, but it comes apart as a clamshell. It's actually pretty neat. I like the way that this is very outlined. But you could even use that, I guess, as a, I guess you would just keep it together. Anyway, this is the part you're all here for. The 5090, 2-slot, 304 millimeters long. It's the exact same actual like circumference, if you will, of a 4090. We'll hold it up to you so you can see, or hold it up so you can see. But it is a true 2-slot design. So if you look at the slot itself, you can see there is no like 2.2 or anything like that. It is a true 2-slot design. And the last time we saw a 2-slot design was actually the 3080/3080 Ti, which is on my test bench right now, so I can't even show you that. But here it is next to a 4090. I like the color, by the way. It's more like space gray rather than this sort of a bronzy color that the 40 series was. In fact, remember the 4080 Super was black, but this is not black. It's like a gunmetal, kind of a space gray. Space gray, I know, is an Apple color. It's the best way to truly describe it. As you can see, if I show you the top dimensions like this, please don't fall, it is exactly the same as a 4090 when it comes to like the outer shape. So if I were to take this 5090 right here, I could actually put it inside a 4090 box perfectly. So if you're curious about its dimensions that way, it's the same as a 4090, it's just a 2-slot. So don't confuse this as a, oh my gosh, it's such a small card. It's actually not that small. And to be honest, it's quite dense and heavy. We'll talk about some more with the card here in a second. There's something else I think is pretty unique that I think you should see. The adapter. This monstrosity. This is the one that came with the 4090. It's got the like PET nasty sleeving on there. There's like very little flex. It just had the fabric that was designed to kind of protect the cables. Remember, if you bend them too tight, they could pull out some and then get a bad connection, and then it could also melt. They actually changed the entire design of the adapter. And as you can see now, it is very soft. It's very almost like a paracord. Look at this. And if you look at the plug itself, it is very protected. It's got this entirely extended piece of plastic, it's like hard rubberized plastic to protect the radius. So you could put a tight bend on that, but where it goes into the plug and matters is straight. So this should hopefully alleviate some of the angled issues you would have on the 40 series, especially the 4090 card when it comes to pulling cables out. I do love that these are a lot more flexible. I do kind of wish that the sense wires though were maybe sleeved within the main sleeve. That way they're not kind of kicking it here, sort of fragile, but whatever. I mean, they're inside these, but as you can see, Viagra, not Viagra. It's kind of the best way to put it. I mean, these are like maracas, right? This is very, very floppy. One other thing I want to point out too is the cable and the way it's designed on the side of the card itself. So we talked about the 4090 has the cable coming straight out, which means once you click that in there and you go to, these are so stiff. Like already I feel like I'm tweaking the plug. That's a lot of additional height that you had to consider when doing your case choices. Remember when the 40 series first came out and the whole like meme about it doesn't fit in any cases, like case panels were ditched across the world because you couldn't put the side panel back on, so they just left them wide open, mostly because two people were afraid about putting a weird bend. Now these also too kind of only want to bend this way, like not sideways, it's awkward. But fortunately, and you can use these on the older cards too, by the way, these, look at that, have all kinds of flexibility for these. They're very, very soft and flexible. So, but you would still have that crazy height to deal with. That's why they brought back, and I say back because the 30 series cards were this way, the angled connector. So you can see the connector points backwards towards the, I guess this would technically be the front side of your case. So if you plug in the adapter, then you can get a nice smooth relief on the cable. And you can route it under or above. So if you want to see the GeForce logo that lights up. In fact, I recently did a build. If you guys haven't seen that video, I was able to use the ATX 5.0 cable that came with our SFX 1200 watt Silverstone power supply. And it actually looked really good. It was like curved and out of the way. So that is kind of nice. So what that allows us to have now is, even though it's the same height as like a 4090, it is giving us less height access needed in terms of measurement for the cable. Now that also means you wouldn't be able to use any 90-degree cables with this card. So if you've currently got a 40 series card in there right now where you've got a 90-degree adapter or a 90-degree cable, you're gonna need a new cable because now you can't use the 90 on here. So that's something you gotta keep in mind. But I wanted to talk about this because they clearly thought this better. They thought this through better than they did with this piece of crap. So if you're running an adapter now, maybe find someone, I bet you anything, you'll find these going up for sale. I bet you anything, people that have custom cables and stuff already will sell these on like eBay and stuff. I bet you get like 50 bucks for this. I'm not even kidding, I bet you could. Let's also talk about the cooler design and the entire dimension of the card itself. If you haven't seen any of the keynote information or any of the teardown stuff, or the Gamers Nexus interview with Malcolm at NVIDIA's engineering, and he's a thermal engineer, the PCB is in the middle, right here. It is not a full PCB layout. What that means is we have a 3D vapor chamber now that has tubing or heat pipes coming out from the sides of it, which means both of these fans on this end right here, which actually just looks like a giant VHS tape now that I think about it, are blowing air straight through the card. So with this older style, which debuted in 30 series, even though this is a 4090, this fan right here was a pull fan. So it pulled air through this side and these fins right here through the card just off into the atmosphere or wherever the air goes from based on your chassis. However, this fan, which is a push fan, had to go down in through the fins and then make a crazy 90-degree turn out of this heatsink opening right here. So you had air going that way and air going that way. So what they've done with this new design, and I'll hold a light up to it so you can see, double flow through, which is the first time we've seen this now in a GPU. It flows through both sides. Now there is a little bit of it does hang over a little bit. It's not fully open, but it is definitely more efficient when it comes to airflow than any of these designs right here. So theoretically, that should mean less acoustics in terms of turbulent air having to make that crazy bend. Remember, when you hear air, you're not hearing the movement of air. Air moving doesn't really make a sound. It's air hitting stuff and air changing direction and bouncing off of stuff that makes sound. Or the wind going across your ear. You're hearing the air in your ear. The movement of air does not make sound. So this should be acoustically more smooth and better on the ears. I haven't even got a chance to really mess with it yet, so we'll talk about that in our review. Than any of these other designs that have some sort of a crazy bend or change of direction that they have to make. So I'm excited for that. The downside of this new design, at least for the founders cards, because I'm not sure yet if, I'm confused as to how the board partners are doing it, because if you look at where like the cable plug is on the board partner cards, they're like, the PCB's like that long. It's like the same length here, it's just moved up. So I'm wondering if they just have these crazy overhang coolers now, because the indentation where the plug is only like this deep from the bracket. But this has 3 PCBs in it. You've got the main PCB, which houses the VRMs and the die and the memory. You have an adapter that connects it to the PCI Express slot on the bottom, and a ribbon cable that connects it to your output ports on the back of the card. So if you're gonna like try and water cool this, I have no idea what manufacturers are gonna do to try and support this card, if they're gonna even try and support it. I would assume the block, if they're gonna go that route, the block would have mounting provisions for those PCBs so they line up where they need to line up. But it would also be really funny to have a water-cooled card that is that long and as powerful as this, with over 21,000 CUDA cores and 32 gigabytes of VRAM of GDDR7. Anyway, that's kind of it. I mean, the box, like they said, is, you know, put it on display, make it pretty or whatever. I guess if you're gonna pay $2,000, which is what this card costs, this is the most expensive non-Titan card that they have ever launched. Yes, they have launched Titan cards that cost more than that. Like the Titan Z was like $3,000, but it was a dual die GPU. $1,599 was what the 4090 was, and we are now at $1999. I almost said $29.99, which is probably more realistic to be honest, but $2,000 for this guy right here. Obviously we're gonna review it, but this is like the Halo product. This is almost like just an engineering demo where they're like, look how crazy we could make a card. The 5080 is gonna really be the card that I think most people are interested in at $1,000. That's like, I think, more than most people would spend, but about where those people that would consider it would stop at about $1,000. That's gonna be a fun card to talk about. But this would be fun for developers, I guess AI engineers, because they really talk about that. I don't do AI stuff, so I really don't know. People are doing rendering, any sort of professional workflow now. Because of the amount of VRAM on here, it's starting to kind of blur the lines between a professional grade card and a consumer grade card. This is like a prosumer card at this point. Not for the everyday guy, but it exists, so obviously we're gonna talk about it. So anyway, there you go, there's the unboxing. It was more than just an unboxing. I didn't expect that. Obviously the packaging's pretty cool and different, and the overall design, and for me, the color of the card looks sick too. All right, stand by for the reviews. They're coming up in just a few days. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.